Welcome to the Franchise Frontier, the podcast where we explore the evolving franchise landscape, dive into latest industry trends, and share actionable tools and tactics to help you build and grow your business.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Franchise Frontier podcast, where we unlock mindset, strategies, and tactics for business ownership through franchising. Today, I am joined by a powerhouse, Suave Brachowski. He is our brand president with Blingle as well as Varsity Zone. So excited to have him. Suave, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dave. I really appreciate being on.
Suave, I know that you have years of experience in franchising, business ownership, etc. Can you walk us through your journey in franchising or even business ownership? How did it all start for you?
Yeah, happy to. This is my 33rd year in franchising. I think for a lot of folks, we never thought we're going to be in it. I've been lucky enough to fall in love with franchising, really saw the value of what a franchising model can do for everybody involved. And so my first 9 years were actually with McDonald's Corporation. I was very fortunate in college and out of college. And for a young guy, that was actually a perfect time because McDonald's is everything about cookbook and recipes, right? Processes and systems. And so by the time I finished my 9 years with them, I was so focused on making sure everything was measured, everything had a process for it. So it was a wonderful training grounds. I tell people I'll always have ketchup in my veins, whether I'm eating fries or not. From there, I was recruited for my first home services company, and that was a home inspection franchise. Moved to Arizona. And it really opened up my eyes what an emerging brand really looks like. So I was with a powerhouse that size with Michael Jordan budgets. And then we had a very small company, just a few of us trying to build this thing. And it was very exciting to be part of a team that was really determined to help our franchise owners. Within, I think, 3 or 4 years, we grew it to be a large operation, really the standard in home inspection. And from there, in total, it's been 24 years in home services. Varsity Zone is my 10th home services brand. I've been a franchisee. I've been on the ownership side, building a brand from a napkin concept. I actually owned a sales training company for about 10 years during that time, helping with home sales, franchise companies. So I've been on every side of it and loved every minute of it. It is genuinely a phenomenal way to go into business because ultimately, whether you're on a franchisee side or franchisor side, you know you're really doing something great for the community, but also for yourself as you're building a business. So I've always enjoyed it.
That's incredible. Now, being that you've been in business ownership from all aspects and all sides and in franchising and owned franchise yourself, you've obviously seen the good, the bad, and some of the transformational. What is one key factor that good, bad, or transformational you still find to be a key component to success in business ownership?
Yeah, I think one of the things that are really important for anybody who's starting a business, certainly in franchising, is to recognize you actually have 2 marketing budgets, right? Marketing to me is essential because you need to be able to generate leads and opportunities. Every business owner says, I need more leads. If you're struggling because you're not closing really well, you need more leads. If you're growing and expanding, you need more leads. And so recognizing you have 2 marketing budgets. Most people focus on the financial part of it. I have an X number of dollars per month to spend on marketing, but you also have time. And if you actually look at it in the same way, which is I'm going to measure it to the penny, I'm going to measure it to the minute, I'm going to put it in my calendar, specific activities to generate opportunities, your business will take off faster and get further because of that. So to me, that's always been critical to make sure we're maximizing both budgets.
That's incredible. So going back to getting into franchising, and you said you worked at McDonald's. I'm sure there's a fun story that kind of got you from, okay, now I'm going to get a real job. And maybe it just happened to be in business ownership. Do you have anything like that was kind of fun that you got through?
Yeah, it's when I started working for McDonald's, I was actually at the local McDonald's. It was college season ended and I was a little tired. My roommate actually said, hey, help me close at a local McDonald's. And I said, I really don't want to. But he knew I didn't like the cafeteria food. And so he said, hey, come and help me close. And if there's any food left at the end, you could take it and eat it, which as a college football player, that was really important for me, quite frankly. What I didn't realize is that store was owned by Dan Fujita, who owned a lot of the McDonald's in Japan. And so I got to meet a lot of the folks that actually were managers from Japan that came over to be there for a year. And I ended up having to be able to go to McDonald's corporate and start working with them. And as I began to peek under the hood of what it takes to run a business, I just realized, I'm like, my goodness, you're making such an impact for the people who are coming through your drive-through inside, to the employees who are working there, the humanitarian things that particular business was doing. So I just really fell in love with the idea of having that type of an opportunity to build something. But I think the funny part of it was that if you look at my wedding photos from many years ago, you would really think that part of my family was Japanese. A lot of those folks became such close friends. They're just absolutely wonderful people. So I would say that really kind of started off my passion for wanting to also be a business owner.
Incredible. So let's fast forward to now. Sure. You're with Horsepower. You happen to be the brand president for two brands, Blingle Premier Lighting and Varsity Zone HVAC. So we'll kind of jump back and forth on both of those brands, if that's okay.
Sure.
So let's just start with Varsity Zone to start, and then we'll jump to Blingle. For you, what makes Varsity Zone stand out in the homes?
Yeah, well, one thing I would say is the question we have to ask ourselves is, what is the standard of a customer experience in home services? And I think for anybody who's had companies come out to their house and take care of things, we've all had good and bad stories. We can recognize the difference in customer experience. So as many companies in HVAC that are out there, the reality is very few people have found that company that can really depend on no matter what, right? It's a scary situation if something happens. So our objective is to make sure that when we're in any community, those folks in those neighborhoods feel like they found their guy. I have my guy and I can call. Well, gender doesn't matter, right? You found the right company to do that. So that's a really important part for us, is that that we can separate ourselves from everyone else. We have the right relationships with vendors like Carrier and others. We have a lot of those tools that the big guys have as well. But ultimately, it still comes down to the fact that we're always available when somebody calls us.
Perfect. And then obviously Blingle Premier Lighting, lighting, outdoor lighting, holiday lighting, permanent lighting is a sexy business, right? It's obviously for marketing, for social, those type of things. That's not a problem. So in that space, in that customer service space, in that same regard, talk about Blingle. What makes Blingle kind of stand out in that space?
Yeah. You know, it's I tell people all the time, even though we're in the lighting business, I don't actually believe we're in the lighting business. I believe we're in the wow business. With lighting, when you think about it for holidays, we all have seen homes that are just lit up beautiful for Christmas or whatever holidays you like. But your house should look that beautiful the whole year. And whether it's a home, a residential home, or even a business. So for us, again, I think what makes it very different is we come in with the idea from a design perspective. We're not just installing lights. We want to make sure that homeowner, that property owner, once we turn all the lights on in the evening and they see the reveal, they all say the same thing. Wow, I've never seen my house or my property look that beautiful. That it changes their view of it. They can't wait to come home every day when they're driving up to it. In fact, people have told us we've hosted parties later in the evening. I just wanted everybody to be able to see how beautiful my house is.
That's incredible. I know that I've been a part of the brand well, and you know, I do feel like every neighborhood is a competition, or it should be. That could just be a coach in me or the athlete, but you know, when you see, even at the lower level, when you see a nice home with great just exterior lighting that's just standard, it looks better than when it's dark.
Yes.
But then you see one that's upgraded and maybe has landscape lighting, and you go, okay, that's another step.
Yeah.
In my neighborhood, interesting enough, in my neighborhood right now, there's probably 7 to 10 houses in this small neighborhood that all have permanent lighting now. And I did talk to one of the gentlemen who owns it. And I think what they did was they said, hey, this company rented a lift and just went house to house and did some of these. And it's about what are they going to do next, right? Yeah. You see the light for being a guy who doesn't pay attention to the calendar enough. Sometimes when I turn the corner and I look at their house, I realize, oh, it's almost 4th of July. I see red, white, and blue. Yeah. Or, oh, it's you see the pastels, you know, it's almost Easter. Yeah. I agree with you 1,000% that there are just other ways to highlight and show off and be proud of your home. Yeah. And sometimes that goes without saying, but I would agree that there's a reason that someone bought that home in the first place or paid that money for the landscape. Yeah. I think that, you know, in the home service space, I think that's a differentiator of Blingle in general. When you talk about those brands, and you can start with whatever one you want, what are some things happening in the business right now that you're most excited about?
Yeah, on the Blingle side, a lot of people don't think about the holidays until you start getting around Halloween and Thanksgiving. But really for us, it's Christmas in July. We are literally working on everything to make sure we are ready to take care of our customers and make sure people can really have a beautiful experience during that time. So it's fun to see. In fact, later today, we actually are going to start training and everything else to make sure our franchise locations are going to market and having customers who are already preparing for what they want their house to look like for the holidays. So I would say on the Blingle side, that's that. The other part to it also is that we're incorporating sound. I mean, when you think about your backyard, which is another area, so you want to light up the front, obviously, but also your backyard is your oasis. And when we speak with a lot of homeowners, they say, we underutilize that space a lot. I thought I'd be out there more often. But having the right atmosphere, the right ambiance, whether it's lighting, a little bit of sound, and just feeling like the whole world goes away and you're just being able to enjoy life, whether it's a birthday party or just watching a movie together and just enjoying the sounds of the birds, being able to have the right atmosphere is really critical. So I see a lot of our owners being able to do that.
That's incredible. So the other portion of that, I think that, to your point, most people think they'll just use a Bluetooth speaker or whatever. A great point that you've touched on that probably goes unnoticed in the lighting space is when you describe what Blingle does, it's holiday lighting as well as one of the core values, right? What's important about that is, and I think the misconception is a lot of times people think about holiday lighting and they only think about Christmas.
Sure.
However, I know that lighting up houses for Halloween, adding to their already decor that they do for Halloween or any of those events is an interesting path that people maybe don't touch on.
Sure.
So you're right, Christmas in July, but again, October's coming, Halloween's coming. I know that some of your owners do a double. They'll do a Halloween setup and then they'll just change the bulb and do Christmas. So there's holiday lighting is the way to describe it, but understanding that a holiday isn't just Christmas. So especially when it comes to lighting, it's very important. So moving on to Varsity Zone, right? When you talk about HVAC, what are some exciting things that are on the horizon for Varsity Zone?
Yeah, quite a bit. I mean, we're very active in launching quite a few locations, so we're excited about being able to grow across the country. We have some terrific markets that we're in, and obviously wonderful franchise owners to do that. A couple things. Technology continues to be developed within HVAC, and so when you see that, even having something like a smart AC, a technology that can monitor the performance of the equipment so that if there's an issue, you can capture it sooner and we can monitor it, the homeowner can monitor it. That's just, that wasn't around for many years ago. I think the other part of it for us too is that we're working very closely with some of our new vendors, and we'll be announcing that over the next couple of months. But I'm really excited about where we are as a brand to be able to roll it out to our owners and their local markets.
It's very important that you say that the brand team is always pushing the ball down the field, whether that be with vendors, whether that be with partners, whatever that is.
Yeah.
When you talk about royalties and those type of things that you get in the franchise business, I like to describe our brand teams as a paid business partner to some extent, who's always working and trying to save an owner basically capital of time and money spent by checks and balances. Does it work? Is it good in this area? Those type of things. So, those initiatives and things that are coming down the pipe, I think are going to be really exciting. So as you look at what kind of support and resources can franchisees or business owners expect when joining Varsity Zone and Blingle?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's really important to be able to say in franchising, one of the biggest benefits you have, not only working with the franchise support team, but also you have your peers. It is really exciting to be able to reach out to another franchise owner and be able to say, hey, how did you handle this? Right? So the power of the collective, we're all learning together so we can go faster. So our job is to be able to work, whether it's on a business coaching side and looking at planning and making sure we have the right business plan, the right marketing plan, the right tools in place to offer advice. For new franchise owners, their first 18 to 24 months, they're experiencing a lot of things for the first time. So having somebody in your corner that is able to help you navigate, perhaps the analogy I would use is this. A lot of times people who are in business independently, I would use the analogy they build a boat, they push it in the water, and all of a sudden it's really quiet. And then there's an issue. They're 100 miles off course. The sail is torn. They have no food in the boat and trying to figure out how to get back. In franchising, if you have the right support team, it's small course corrections. We're in a boat with you all the time. And so inevitably we're saying 1 degree off here. Now go a little bit here. The wind is better here. And so you can usually go a lot further because you have that and you're learning from whatever we're collecting and other franchise owners are also.
That's a great perspective. I think that there's a lot to be said for being a part of a team. There's so many owners throughout our space, even in the other brands that we also are a part of, and the ability that it's not a competition in terms of, the leads are going to go where they're supposed to go. Sure. So it's about the strategy, the structure, small adjustments, not big corrections. I think is incredible. Many of our listeners are probably coming on the podcast and wondering, what's next for me? They've been in corporate America, sure, or those type of things. So they're in a what's next phase of their career. Why do you believe business ownership, specifically for franchising, is such a powerful next step?
Well, it is an amazing thing to accomplish, right? So I think any business owner that started a business and was growing it, whether it's a franchise or independently, a lot of people may look at them on the other side when they're successful and say, they got lucky. They've earned every scar they have. They've put a lot of their money, blood, sweat, and tears into it. And it is just a major accomplishment. For those who have been through it, you all know how hard it is to be able to do that. But it's so rewarding because, one, you build a legacy for your family. Your name matters in the community. Whatever number of employees you have, now you're helping those families live a good life. You're giving folks an opportunity to build their career. You're giving back. You're also providing a level of service you always hope you would be able to get. With all those things together, you can really sit back and look at your business and say, wow, look how far we've come. And it's natural to want to always be further than where you are. That's the competitive nature of any entrepreneur that's in it. But it is really fun, and is the reason why I still have a passion for franchising after 3 decades, is that I love seeing business owners who started their first year, in their third year, in their fifth year, and they're so much further along. They have so much more confidence. They built something so special. You just can't get that anywhere else.
It's important to know, like you mentioned, that enjoyment is not easy.
No, it's not.
Sometimes I know that people look at the franchise model and maybe assume there's a misconception that means it's easy. I don't think it's easy. I just think that there's a guidebook, right? If I was going to drive from here to Montana, I think I could get there without a map.
Exactly.
But having a road map would get me there faster,
Yes.
And I think that there is a lot to be said for having the roadmap, having the business partner and the team involved, but at the same time, being able to say, I want to dive into business ownership. I just would like the roadmap. There's not very many people in society today that are driving from point A to point B to where they don't know where they're going, that aren't using their phone for the map.
For sure.
So I always like to say that I think that franchising is the map. It's not the easy, it's not the quick book, it's not the easy button,
Right.
But it is the roadmap. Would you agree with that?
I would add the other part to it. Imagine if you had GPS in your car and the roadmap, but anytime you were getting a little tired or you're a little scared because it's dark or maybe it's really windy or a storm, you can call somebody and say, hey, how am I doing? Is this okay? How does it compare to others who have driven this road? Any suggestions you have on me being able to take a shortcut? Do I have enough time? Do I have enough fuel? That's what franchise support does, is we're that voice in your head that when it gets tough, we pull you through it. Other franchise owners, your peers, sometimes you think you have a really big problem, and in a moment it feels that way. And you call another couple of owners like, that's not a big deal. Here's what you do. And you're like, I feel so much better. So my guess is that when you're actually on that map and driving on that road and following that map, it's more enjoyable because you are part of that team.
That's a great perspective. When you think about business ownership and the many years of experience you've had also with yourself, what type of person tends to thrive in business ownership? And are there specific traits or backgrounds that you see when people succeed?
Yeah. I think perhaps the most important trait is not to be afraid to ask questions, understand. People tend to in business, and this is just natural human behavior, they tend to lean towards the things that they like or know how to do. So if I enjoy marketing, I'm going to lean into that. Or if I enjoy sales, I'm going to do that. The best piece of advice I was ever given in business ownership was lean into the things you don't enjoy or don't know how to do. So you're never held hostage. You know every aspect of it. So for me, it's the best thing you could be, no matter what your background is, open-minded to saying, here's what I'm really good at. Here's the areas I need to develop. You communicate that with your franchise support team and let them help you, whether it's the systems, the tools, the training, or other folks who are really good at that other side of the business you're not, help you continue to improve your skill set. It's how we all grow. We're challenged by the things we don't know how to do. But we get on the other side of it, it's so rewarding. So to me, I think it's high integrity, high work ethic, and people want to be able to kind of unplug too soon sometimes. The reality is you have to earn that. And then hiring the best people and managing them. As a business owner, one of the most critical things you can do is have a culture that you are very proud of and never wavering from it, having very clear core values to say, look, this is how we're going to go to the world, and this is how we're going to treat every customer, and this is who we are as human beings. When you can instill that, it's amazing how far you can come.
Would you say that when it comes to developing that culture, it's important that on the roadmap to success or on the roadmap to opening doors, it's important for you to sit down with either your family or whomever is part of your trust tree and decide what your core values are or what your core focus is before you ever get to business. Obviously, that will change. It will mend. It will mold a little bit. But it's important to have some of those things established of what you're really trying to accomplish in your community as a business owner.
It sure is. I mean, the reality is you are changing the path of where you're heading to where you maybe would have thought you were heading, and your family is along for the ride, no matter how big that family is. And your friends, your inner circle, you may not be able to be available sometimes. You might ask them for help. Some may actually end up working for you if that's what you choose to do. So yes, having those conversations, making sure everybody's on your side and understand what you're doing. I've seen the best environments where your family is actually being able to peek into what you're building. One, they become very proud of you because they see the hard work you're putting into it. But also, they tend to be more supportive. They tend to find opportunities. A lot of true entrepreneurs are afraid to ask people in their life for help in growing their business. But the reality is we all have an inner circle. And being able to tap into it right away just gives you a boost right from the start.
And I know that we have a corporate team here at Horsepower.
Yeah.
But how important let's talk Blingle Premier Lighting. Mm-hmm. How important is it in all franchise brands, I guess, for that matter, to be very community centric, right? I think that the home service space in the beginning, in my opinion, starts off with your community, your own Rolodex. Sure. And as it grows, it grows. How important is it for a business owner or a new franchisee possibly to be locked in to their community?
Well, it's critical on many different levels, quite frankly. I mean, one is certainly good for business, and you want people to be able to know that you're out there. But also, going back to what we mentioned earlier, there's a really low bar as far as the standard of experiences. And all of us have had a bad experience. So people are craving a company they can genuinely rely on. And when they know you, they already know you as a good human being and you've been there for them. It's just so much easier for them to want to help you and perhaps hire you or refer you to their neighbors or their friends. People are so connected today, whether it's on social media or the pickleball club or the HOA or their church or everything else. That's really how networking works really, really well. Additionally, you can meet other business owners who are also looking to partner with you on a strategic level and figure out how you can help each other. There are so many benefits to being able to do that. And it's also why you want to be a business owner. You want to be somebody who built that legacy in your community.
One of the important things too, when you think about business ownership in the home service space, I think to your point that you made earlier, all of us have complained about something that's happened, right? When you get the call from the Wi-Fi company and they say we'll be here between 7 and 5, and you're trying to plan your day. And when you think to yourself that you could sneak out of there, they come right there every time.
Sure.
So when it goes back to customer journey, when it goes back to those things, business ownership, especially in the home service space, would you agree that you have a great opportunity to treat customers like you would want to be treated?
Yes, that's a great model, frankly, for how you should operate a business. And there are so many ways to differentiate yourself. So one, communication is critical for us as human beings in all aspects, but certainly when you are looking for somebody to come to your house, whether it's to give you an estimate or actually to do the work, you want to make sure that you begin to feel good about the company you're going to work with. So over communicating, leveraging the technology that's out there, whether it's texting, calling them that you're going to be on time, giving them updates, map-wise where you're going to be perhaps, all those things, doing what you said you're going to do, respecting our home, putting on shoe covers, making sure that you are explaining things correctly. There are, again, so many things that we teach in training and working with our franchise owners for them to be able to make sure that they are walking into that customer's home, their castle, and immediately for that person to go, wow, this is a very different experience. This is a professional company who actually cares about what's happening to me and wants to fix things.
And to that point, you know, the old saying, you never get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yeah.
It's so important. When I used to coach, one of the things I would talk to players about, and I think I still talk to it when we talk about sales training a little bit here, is if somebody sees you in a certain light, hopefully you haven't put that own light on yourself.
Right.
A lot of times where it's like, if you want to be, you know, they always say, if you want to be treated like a CEO, speak like a CEO, or something to that extent. And I think that the incredible part about owning a home service business is your ability to quickly become known for something really good within the community. And that doesn't necessarily mean that you've gotten all those jobs or any of those jobs.
Sure.
It's when you go to the house and you are consistent and you treat people the same way, whether they say yes or they say no. That, because I would imagine, and you can touch on this a little bit, when you treat people well after they say no, it's shock. They're shocked. They're waiting for you to just be like, okay, thanks, bye. But when you're still like, hey, if there's anything else I could do for you, you know, how you would want to be treated, it gives you a little sense of shock. And I think that you can quickly go through in a sales week and touch, you know, 10 to 20 different people in your community and have a great report that comes out as people are talking in that space.
Yeah, I'm so glad you brought that up. That's such a wonderful point. The thing we have to realize is that not everybody's ready to make a decision in that moment, right? But that doesn't mean they won't be your customer or won't be able to refer you. And so being able to work through that, people, when they hear no, sometimes they just want to disconnect too quickly. Some people want to be really pushy and try to get that business. The reality is we want to respect the situation, but being able to take care of them all the way through. One of the best points I've ever heard early on, and I think was my maybe first or second brand that I was with in home services, was the fact that the customer really expects you to be an expert in fixing or installing whatever you're doing. But their hope is you actually treat them really well when you do that. And so when you're actually able to be the expert, very much like a doctor in a home that says, let me walk you through, here's what should happen, whether it's now or down the road, and you make the best decision. And then you treat them, your bedside manner is so good that they feel good about you. The probability of being able to create an opportunity out of that, whether it's a Google review, whether it's a referral, whether it's a business from them, both of the franchise owner groups at Blingle and Varsity Zone, that we are so lucky, frankly. We have terrific franchise owners. And what I see repeat business. That tells me a lot. I look at the reviews. I look at the feedback. Sometimes customers will actually message us or call us and tell us about the experience. And I love the fact that when customers have such a phenomenal experience overall, they sometimes come back and want more. Or they say, hey, you got to talk to my neighbor, or you got to do this, like literally grab you by hand and go over there. And now you know you're doing something right.
Would you suggest, this is just a random question that popped up in my head, but, you know, if you had a great rapport with a client and at the end of the day, they decided not to go with you or not to do the project, you could get a Google review based on that. Of course, you don't necessarily have to be about that project. So I think that there's many opportunities to highlight your business and what you do for other people.
I do want to touch upon one point regarding that. Sometimes when a customer doesn't want to do something yet, there could be underlying reasons why they're not ready. Maybe they need more explanation to make sure they really understand the benefit or the value of it. Sometimes it could be because there's a financial component to it they didn't really consider fully. So both of our brands actually offer financing. And more importantly, now they have payment plans. So for a homeowner who thought, gosh, I would love to have this, but like in HVAC side, their air conditioning goes out. I think we're really planning to replace it, but it's the right thing for them to do. Now it won't set them back that much. Now they have an affordable payment they can take care of. That opens up the world. So our job is to find a way that if they actually want this, for them to feel best that we're the right company for them, and we're going to take care of them all the way through, and it is a benefit. Sometimes you have to wait a bit. Sometimes they'll never do it, and sometimes because you have these things, it opens up a door for them to say, you know what, makes sense, let's go for it.
It's also very important that as you talk through that understanding what you're doing for the homeowner is providing them an opportunity in many different ways.
Yes.
It's not we offer financing because you can't afford it.
No, of course not.
Do I want to spend $10,000, $5,000 on a new air conditioner or whatever that might be? I can. I don't want to.
Exactly.
However, does it feel better if I can pay that for $154 a month and now my family has a new air conditioner, $154, whatever it might be. I'm using shredded numbers.
Of course.
I think that it's important to know that that is the great way to release the stigma of financing. So, Suave, when you talk about your brands and being the brand leader, brand president for both brands, how do you personally approach your leadership in a franchise system?
Yeah, I believe it's really important for the franchise owners to know that we have their best interests at heart, that we over communicate, the fact that we're transparent, that they feel heard, and that they're part of the discussions about where the company is going. One of the best lessons I've learned a very long time ago was the fact that the best ideas always come from the field. I'm not out there fixing or repairing an air conditioner or installing lighting every day. So the reality is I'm relying on my folks who are out there to be able to come back to us and offer ideas and suggestions. For example, on the Blingle side, we just started a franchise advisory board focused exclusively on commercial and large projects. And the reason for that is, as an example, it might be a restaurant or a car dealership. A lot of times there's 10 of them on the same block. And so we've started seeing it through some of our franchise owners who've been able to do contracts with them, where a car lot or a restaurant just looks so much different, being the brightest one in the block. That becomes marketing, drives more business for them. So we know that we have to continue to develop better processes and systems internally together with our franchise owners to be able to do that. On the Varsity Zone side, we know that memberships are really important for customers. So a repair and maintenance plan that they can subscribe to every month. And in this way, if there's an issue or anything else, they would have a lot of different benefits to it. So we have our team coming together as franchise owners, continue to fine tune the right offerings, the right benefits, so the customer could really see the value in that. So getting them to be part of the process is so critical.
So look at yourself, your team, those type of things. What are some things that you're the most proud of in your current position?
Yeah, we have something we call Win of the Week. So we really try to celebrate what's happening out in the field. And that could be whether it's personal. We just had one of our team members who had a baby and folks who are getting married, to significant achievements out in the field. For example, for Blingle, and it just happened a few days ago in Kansas City. I'm going to give them a shout out. They just did the lighting for the Native American memorial. It's absolutely beautiful. I'm so proud of those guys for doing that. So for us, we're really proud of the fact that we're able to celebrate with our owners about the things that they're doing in their community. I know Carl in Varsity Zone in Mooresville, his team is doing something to propel kids in sports to be able to have scholarships for different events and things like that. And I know he has a lot more information on that. So it's really rewarding to be able to see and celebrate with them when they're actually making movement, besides just generating revenue in their business.
It's important to let people know how much the brand team gets as excited for success of people in the brand. sometimes I know that there's a lot of times where it comes back to it's only a problem when it's a problem, or we only reach out to them necessarily if there's something going on or something to that extent. But I do think, going back to what you said earlier about the team aspect of things, that it is also so important to celebrate wins, small wins, big wins, any win.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're all in it together as far as that. And in the franchise system, you're always in it together. And it's important to celebrate those milestones, whether they're big or small, because for the person that it is their milestone, it's been fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the other part to it too is that when you celebrate things like this, you have this culture of recognizing achievement, but it also motivates the other folks. Like they see one location do something like, hey, I can do it. Or they might see something and ask that particular location, hey, how did you do this? How did you go after that particular opportunity? So there's so many benefits from doing that. And it is, if you're on the franchisor side and you are there as a franchise support team to help your owners, there has to be a part of you that loves to cheerlead and get excited about when you see these folks hit these milestones. Franchise owners in particular, they invest so much of their time, money, and energy in building their business. And you're right there with them. The moment they sign a franchise agreement, for us, we're right there with them side by side. So not that they're kids, but as almost proud parents, you can't wait to go home. In fact, for all of us, I know we all go home and in the evenings tell our families about what's happening within our franchise owners because we're so proud of what they're doing. So we're also very lucky. We have very dedicated franchise owners.
So as we close, what's one piece of advice that you would give someone considering taking the leap into business ownership through franchising?
That's a really good question. I think the piece of advice I would give you is that go all in. If you're going to do it, don't have the hesitations. We're going to hold your hand through it all the way through. There's going to be somebody who's going to be on the phone with you, schedule calls, support. But if you're going to do it, don't just put your toe in the water. Like jump all the way and commit. It'll be worth it. But you have to be ready for that.
That's incredible. Swap, your insight and your intelligence in the franchise world has been extremely valuable on the show. I think it's an incredible vision for both Blingle Premier Lighting and Varsity Zone. I appreciate you being on the show and look forward to seeing you in the future.